Introversion is one of the major personality traits identified in many theories of personality. People who are introverted tend to be inward-turning or focus more on internal thoughts, feelings, and moods rather than seeking external stimulation. The term introversion and extroversion were popularized through the work of Carl Jung and later became central parts of other prominent theories, including the Big Five theory of personality. The introversion-extroversion dimension is also one of the four areas identified by the Myers-Briggs Type Indicator. According to many theories of personality, everyone has some degree of both introversion and extroversion. However, people often tend to lean one way or the other. Introverts tend to be more quiet, reserved, and introspective. Unlike extroverts who gain energy from social interaction, introverts have to expend energy in social situations. After attending a party or spending time in a large group of people, introverts often feel a need to recharge by spending a period of time alone. Every introvert is unique, but there are some signs you're an introvert that most of us can relate to. Not every introvert will match all these signs, but if most of them sound familiar to you, chances are good that you're an introvert. Introverts tend to enjoy spending time alone. As an introvert, your idea of a good time is a quiet afternoon to yourself to enjoy your hobbies and interests. A few hours alone with a good book, a peaceful nature walk, are great ways to help you feel recharged and energized. This does not mean that the average introvert wants to be alone all the time. Many introverts love spending time with friends and interacting with familiar people in social situations. The key thing to remember is that after a long day of social activity, an introvert will probably want to retreat to a quiet place to think, reflect, and recharge. They are drained by certain types of socializing. One of the major characteristics of this personality type is that introverts have to expend energy in social situations, unlike extroverts who gain energy from social interactions. That doesn't mean that all introverts avoid social events altogether. They do their best work alone. This doesn't mean we can't work with people. It just means we concentrate better and are more creative when we're alone. They would rather hang out with one or two close friends than a large group of people. Many introverts actually enjoy spending time around others, with one key caveat. Introverts tend to prefer the company of close friends. While an extrovert might go to a party with the goal to meet new people, an introvert intends to spend quality time talking to good friends. They may have a vivid, rich inner world. One of the characteristics of introverted people is that they create their energy when focusing more on the inner world of thoughts and ideas, whereas more extroverted people achieve highs from their surroundings and external experiences. It may be assumed that this inner world is simply your own, but that's only a small part of the story. The introverted interest in the inner world stretches much further and deeper. It is an interest in all inner worlds, the inner worlds of other people, culture, creativity, technology, etc. It is an interest in what goes beneath the surface of life. They may struggle with word retrieval. Studies have found many differences between the brain of an introvert compared to an extrovert. One key difference is that information travels a longer pathway through an introvert's brain. This causes us to process information more deeply, and is likely why we take longer to verbalize our thoughts. They are better at writing their thoughts than speaking them. Introverts often feel as if they express themselves better in writing than in conversation. They generally prefer text messages and emails to phone calls and in-person meetings. Likewise, many introverts say journaling helps them understand their thoughts and feelings much better. Myths about introverts. Unfortunately, many people don't fully understand what it means to be an introvert. They equate introversion with shyness, depression, or social anxiety. When introverts go quiet, we are wrongly accused of being stuck up, angry, or disinterested. And when we spend time alone, we are often accused of being antisocial or selfish. For most introverts, these misconceptions couldn't be further from the truth. Introverts are not necessarily socially awkward. Just like shyness, social awkwardness is a separate trait from introversion. Introverts don't hate people. An introvert's lack of chitchat is often misrepresented. People take it as a sign that we don't like others. The truth is the opposite. Introverts often avoid small talk because we consider it to be inauthentic. We crave a more meaningful connection with people we talk to. Introverts aren't rude. Yes, if an introvert is completely out of social energy, we might start getting a little crabby or simply zone out, but we're not trying to be rude, and we'll be a lot more friendly if you give us some time to recharge alone. Introverts don't need to be fixed. Being an introvert is a part of who we are, and it can be a source of brilliance. We are at our best when we embrace our nature and use it as a source of strength. Introverts don't usually wish we were extroverted. Sure, sometimes introverts envy an extrovert's ability to think quickly or fit naturally into a social situation. But we also take great delight in our inner world in our alone time. Introverts have many strengths that don't come naturally to extroverts, and we wouldn't trade them for the world. There is no such thing as a pure introvert. No two introverts are exactly alike. What's true for one introvert may be quite different for another. Each introvert has a different level of tolerance for socializing and other types of stimulation. Above all, there's no such thing as a pure introvert or extrovert. Such a man would be in the lunatic asylum. The famous psychotherapist Carl Jung once noted, introversion and extroversion are on a spectrum, meaning they are not all or nothing traits. Everyone acts introverted at times and extroverted at other times. It's all about what your preference in general is. Can introverts become extroverts? There are two answers to this. No, introverts cannot become extroverts. Why would we want to? Why we can't? The research is clear that introverts express their temperament from a young age. In fact, one study by psychologist Jerome Kagan found that it's possible to predict which babies will grow up to be introverted based on their reaction to stimuli at just 4 months old. In other words, if you have an introverted nature, you're likely to be that way from birth and remain that way throughout your life. Why we don't want to? This speaks to a deeper truth about introverts. There are plenty of introverts out there who wish they could be more outgoing, but this isn't the same thing as becoming an extrovert. Introverts, like everyone else, can practice their social skills and become more capable in social situations, but it won't change the fact that those interactions drain us. And the reality is, it's better that way. Introverts who embrace their nature tend to flourish. They are happier, have better relationships, do better work, and enjoy life because their minds are well rested and their energy level is high. The best thing you can do if you're an introvert is not try to change it, but to take the alone time you need and let your vast inner world work for you. The gift of being an introvert. Many introverts grow up feeling out of place. We live in a fast, noisy world that sees chattiness as a virtue. Many introverts worry from a young age that something is wrong with them, but being an introvert is a gift. The world has a need for people who go deeper, think before they act, and look at things in new ways. The world has a place for people who value meaningful relationships over meaningless small talks. And the world is ready for thoughtful, contemplative people who bring calm and wisdom to a room. These are traits that introverts offer, and precisely because the world has so many extroverts, when you step into these traits and own them, you will find that people appreciate you and value you. There is an old saying that the person who says the least is also the wisest. Introverts aren't born any wiser than anyone else, but we do have an advantage. We are built to do the kind of contemplation that turns into great insight over time. How to thrive as an introvert. Introverts can be successful in any walk of life. There are introverts who are famous actors and politicians. There are introvert CEOs, pop stars, authors, and engineers. And introverts, like everyone, can find happiness in love, in family, in spirituality, or in learning, or in whatever gives them purpose. What's different about introverts is what we have to do to tap into our talents and thrive. We have to work with our introversion rather than fight against it. That might mean turning down social invites. It might mean focusing on the friends you value the most instead of trying to be everything to everyone. It might mean finding a way to get more solitude at work, especially in an open office. And most important, it might mean trusting your instinct about what you really need to be happy. Once you do that, you will stop feeling worn out or uncertain, and you'll start seeing your genius come through.